In this video, we're going to show you to install the wheel hub on your Hummer H3 located behind your front wheels. With the vehicle raised and supported, I'm going to go ahead and remove our center cap. You can use a flathead screwdriver or a trim tool, and you're going to come in right behind here and gently pry out and pop that off. Using a 19mm socket, I'm going to go ahead and loosen and remove our lug nuts. Go ahead and grab that wheel, remove it, and set it aside. With the front wheel removed, I'm going to go ahead and locate this clamp right here on your upper control arm. This supports the brake flex hose. We're going to use a 10mm socket, loosen and remove this bolt. Once you remove that bolt, I'm going to go ahead and slide this hose off. I'm going to go ahead and throw the bolt right back in the control arm. Just thread it in a few threads. We're going to go ahead and disconnect our ABS wire here. Now, in most cases, you can just pop these out, and it's going to give you a little bit of flexibility when we're working on the vehicle. However, we're going to disconnect it all the way up and from the main harness. The last thing you want to do is put undue pressure on the ABS wire and ruin it, where it's going to be an additional expense later. So we're going to go right up here. We're going to disconnect it from the top and then unplug it right from behind the fender liner right here and just pull the whole harness right out. Now, up right behind the fender liner here is the ABS connector, and we can just see that in the mirror there to show you where it is. So you're literally just going to reach up there. There's a little spring clip on it, and we'll show you once we pop this out. Now, if you have a hard time pulling that out, you can use your trim tool. You can pop that connector off of the mount that it's on. So we're going to do that so we can show you a little bit better. So we just pull that out from that little retainer. Here's the little spring clip here. You pull up on this and separate it like so. Now you have your whole harness. We now want to go ahead and remove our brake caliper, and there are two 18mm bolts. There's one right here, one up top. We're going to use our breaker bar. Go ahead and loosen this. I'm going to go ahead and loosen the upper one. I'm going to remove that and set it aside. We have the hanger here. Whatever you have, if you want to use a heavy-duty securing strap or something, but what we're going to do is when we remove this bolt, we need to take the whole caliper, pull it off, and we're going to hang it off of the frame or off of something on the side over here to support it. We do not want to have the flex hose be pulled on, causing undue pressure. Now I am holding the caliper in place here. We don't want that to fall. Remove that bolt. Be careful of that brake rotor. The brake rotor will be free. With the brake caliper pulled aside, we can now grab that brake rotor, slide that off, and set that aside. Loosen and remove the axle nut. We're going to use a 35mm axle nut socket. And remove that washer. Now after you remove the axle nut, you want to go ahead and make sure that your axle is free floating inside the hub. You can go ahead and do this by simply pushing on this. You can see that axle is moving. For any reason, if that axle is stuck in the splines, you want to go ahead and use a punch and put it right in the center here. You want to go ahead and strike that punch and go ahead and work that free, spraying inside here with some rust penetrant to break that free. But that's what you need here. Now let's move to the upper portion of the knuckle. Now on the back side of our knuckle here, we have three 15mm bolts, and we're going to use our 15mm wrench to go ahead and loosen these. All right, now we have this one loose. We're going to go ahead and loosen up the third one on the other side. Now that we have them all loose, let's go ahead and remove them all. With the 3 bolts removed, I'm going to go ahead and use my hammer and hit the back side of the flange and work this out. Now when doing something like this here, you do have the option to go ahead and throw on the axle nut. That way you can go ahead and smack this a little bit harder. That'll prevent the hub from shooting off and flying onto the floor. We can clearly see that this is gapping out right here. So we're just going to go ahead and be careful with it and keep on hitting it. Go ahead and work that off the splines. There you have it. Now the inside of the knuckle here on our vehicle is pretty much corroded and rusty, just all kinds of garbage in here. I'm going to go ahead and use a little cookie on my air tool. You can use a wire brush, whatever you have, and if you want to, you can use something of maybe a 120 grit sandpaper to clean the inside and get rid of some of that scaly rust. Now, as you're cleaning up the inside, don't forget you want to clean the outside of the flange itself too. Now we're not removing any metal, we just want to clean up any scaly rust that's there. After you've cleaned it up, go ahead and spray it down with some solvent. I'm going to put some anti-seize compound on the inside here, even a little bit on the outside. Now just a thin coat, doesn't have to be glopped on there. Do want to make sure that it is coated a little bit though, so if you ever have to do this again, it won't be so stuck to it. Take your new wheel hub, line that up on the splines, and push this in. You want to make sure that your ABS speed sensor is located up at the 10 o'clock position here. Get our 3 bolts started. You do want to make sure that when you're doing this here, you start all bolts by hand first. You don't want to cross thread these. So I'm just using my dead blow hammer. You can use a rubber mallet. Go ahead and continue to tap this in. Get these bolts in as far as they can go. Now we did wire wheel our bolts to clean up the threads. Now that you have all of your bolts in as far as you can by hand, come on in with your wrench and just tighten them down by hand. Once we have them all snug down, we can go ahead and torque them into position. Okay, let's go ahead and torque these down. I want to torque these down to 133 foot-pounds. We'll go ahead and do the same with the rest here. I'm going to go ahead and treat our hub surface with some anti-seize compound. Good, install the axle nut. I'm going to go ahead and snug this down. So just run our wire underneath our control arm here and snap it into this upper retainer. That'll just hold it up out of the way for now. Go ahead and set your rotor up there. I'm going to go ahead and throw a lug nut on here. And the purpose of this here is it's going to keep the rotor from falling off like this here when we go to install our brake caliper. Just rotate that to about 6 o'clock. Before we install our brakes, go ahead and give the rotor a cleaning. We don't want to have a dirty rotor with our brakes. And don't forget the backside. Go ahead and grab that brake caliper. Remove the hanger. Let's go ahead and slide this over the brake rotor. I want to go ahead and get the upper bolt started. Once we get that bolt started, a few threads, it's safe to go ahead and let go of it. And then we'll go ahead and get that bottom bolt in. Just wiggle that caliper around and line that up. And we'll get that one started next. It's going to torque down the caliper to bracket bolts to 144 foot-pounds. Going to remove our bolt here. Install our bracket. Once you get that bolt started, I'm going to go ahead and run that down as far as you can, and then we'll snug it down. Once that bottom's out, just give it a little bit more. Install that in here, and then snap it over. Go ahead and take your connector end here, install that, push on so you feel it and hear it click. You're going to take this and reach that up inside, right on the fender liner, and press it in. Go ahead and take this end here. I'm going to feed this up. And your ABS wire is installed. So keep this lug nut on here. Install a second one here. I'm going to put our pry bar here. Now let's go ahead and torque down our axle nut to 191 foot-pounds. And the lug nuts are there to protect the studs. Once you've met that torque spec, go ahead and remove the lug nuts. You can take your wheel, line it up on those studs, set it in place. We're going to go ahead and get all of our lug nuts started by hand. Once they're all started, we're going to go ahead and snug them down. Now I want to go ahead and snug these down in a crisscross pattern. We're now going to torque down our lug nuts to 103 foot-pounds. When doing this, you want to do it in a crisscross pattern. Grab your center cap. You want to line up this leg with the opening here in the wheel. And you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.